More now, I want to bring in Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. Thanks so much for joining us. Attorney General, Michigan has had a rush of abortion rights victories in recent months. Governor Gretchen Whitmer just repealed the state's abortion ban last week, months after voters had enshrined abortion rights into the state's constitution. And you wasted no time emphasizing that medication abortion is still legal in your state despite this recent ruling. So how are you prepared to defend that position if necessary?
Well, the simple answer to that is in every way possible. You know, the voters in our state have spoken following the decision by the Supreme Court in Dobbs. I mean, the Supreme Court is the one who told us that this was an issue to be decided by the states. And in Michigan, we did exactly that. So this ballot proposal that enshrined reproductive rights into the Michigan Constitution passed in overwhelming numbers. And more so than that, we flipped the legislature for the first time in 40 years. Pro-choice Democrats now control every branch of government in Michigan. So, you know, we're not going to take this lying down. We don't believe that. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, please continue.
No, we're not going to let one judge in the state of Texas tell us in Michigan what we can and cannot do as it pertains to reproductive rights.
Do you worry about how the Supreme Court may rule should it end up there?
Yes, of course I'm worried about it. And it will obviously be in direct conflict with what we heard last year in the Dobbs decision. But that being the case, you know, we're making preparations in the state of Michigan. We want to ensure that mifepristone remains available. It's going to absolutely remain legal in our state. The question, of course, is one of availability. And we think there's a number of different avenues in which we can ensure that that occurs. But in the meantime, you know, we have this contrary decision by Judge Rice out in Washington, who has told the FDA that they are not to remove FDA approval from mifepristone. And so what we are hoping is this. We're hoping that the FDA will keep the status quo, which it's been for well over 20 years now, and that this particular product will remain on the market and remain available to people in states like mine, where it's perfectly legal and there are no laws to the contrary.
But that does remain in limbo with this Texas ruling. We mentioned there have been calls for the FDA to just ignore this ruling. Is that a stance you're willing to take?
Well, I think that the FDA should listen to Judge Rice, who's indicated that the status quo should remain in effect. Remember, in terms of this ruling from Judge Kaczmarek, it really undermines every notion of legal jurisprudence that we've had historically in this country. You know, this is not an emergency set of circumstances. There's been no evidence that mifepristone is unsafe or is dangerous. And in fact, just to the contrary, it's one of the safest drugs on the market. And so in cases like this, generally speaking, you know, you don't have an immediate order that goes into effect prior to the case even being fully heard by the district court, let alone a circuit court of appeals, let alone the United States Supreme Court. So we're hopeful that the FDA will, you know, comport itself to the decision and the order by, you know, Judge Rice and not make any changes in regard to this particular product so it remains available to people in all the states in which it's legal.